Well, I'm going to make separate videos on repairing these two edgers here. So I'm going to take them both out and pressure wash them. I have parts for most of them. And ordered a air filter. I don't know, a couple things I didn't have. But anyway, we'll get to cleaning them up. So these are all the parts. This is the carb kit for that carburetor. The rest of these parts are for the engine that this is off of. The air filter, the gas cap, the base gasket for the air cleaner. It was missing a couple screws. That one of the air cleaner screws here was missing. Got a package of diaphragms, and we'll get to town on pressure washing the machines. So I got them all cleaned up. They look pretty darn good. Alright, so let me get on, I think I'll work on the carburetor on that first, and I got it off and apart. So this was all crusty white, so this carburetor needs to come apart, so I'm going to pop the carburetor off. So I ended up taking the whole carburetor off because the governor control goes through here, and separating it there with this up here wasn't going to happen, so I took the whole manifold off. The gasket tore here, so I have those gaskets, so no big deal. But just don't forget to take out the main metering jet before you try and separate the two halves of the carburetor. It's threaded up in that hole way down in there, and this goes into a port in the upper body, and you can damage the carburetor if you don't take this out first. But this thing is just completely blocked up and cruddy, so we need to go through the carburetor. Yeah, I ended up taking that threaded thing off, so I'll just readjust the governor when I'm done. I do have a tack I can use on it, but typical estate sale engine. There's a lot of crud in the bottom of that float bowl. It's pretty nasty. And the float needle is stuck in the... Oh no, it's moving now. It was stuck, but we'll put a new needle and seat, and float sounds okay, but we'll go through the carburetor. The inside of this bowl is so nasty, I gave it a quick bead blast. There's some pretty good sized pits in the bottom of the bowl, but none of them go through the external part of the carburetor. I think the casting's fairly thick enough in that area to where it's going to be okay, so we're gonna put a carb kit in it and hope for the best. Well, this kit comes with pretty much everything. New seat needle, which has a little rubber seat on it, and adjusting screw, main jet, main adjusting screw, the packing nut, bowl gasket, the gasket that goes between this doohickey here, and the instructions. This is the little doodad for the float needle, and the little gasket, I just changed that. That screws down into where the needle is, but the float level, as you saw, needs to be level, and that is level with the base of the carburetor. The gasket's a little bent up, but that's no big deal. The gasket does have to go on before the float, obviously, and we're ready to put the base on. We got the new gasket and whatnot in there, and we're going to gum out through all the jets, everything, blew them out with compressed air and a little wire through them. Made sure I could see light through them, especially this little air bleed right there. Alright, let me get the two halves together. Carburetor is assembled, governor assembly is back on this little doohickey. That little wire doohickey that's hanging there goes on the governor wind vane, and the throttle cable hooks up in that hole there. So we got a completely rebuilt carburetor ready to go back on. So I went down and found a spark plug that'll work in this motor in my spark plug hoard. I buy spark plugs in estate sales, usually for 25 or 50 cents a piece. Sometimes they're, as high as maybe $1 depending on the plug, but I usually just buy them. So this is the incorrect plug that was in the engine. This is close enough. This is a CJ8Y. I don't know what the Y means, but RCJ8Y I should say, which R is a resistor. Usually these engines have a CJ8, but that'll work. Alright, I got the carburetor on, the governor installed. I was draining out what little oil was left in it, residual oil. To add this on it, I haven't seen one of these in a long time. These screw into the oil fill, and you push this, and it sucks the oil when you release it up into here. If you don't get oil up into there, then your engine's low on oil. Just a really super quick way of checking oil on these old engines. Okay, if this shows up, you push this, see how it pulls the oil up in there? That tells you have enough oil. Now let's just tip the machine up. Hang on, let me get something to set the machine on. Tipping it up. Okay, so I tipped it up so this will simulate low oil. So see how when you push it, nothing comes up in there? That tells you the engine's low on oil. But when you have the correct amount of oil in the machine again, there you go. Pretty neat, huh? Alright, I'm going to put a fuel hose on it and filter and see if we can't get it running. Okay, it's all together, and I got to adjust the carburetor and set the governor RPM, and I'm going to use this to set the RPM. You just hold it on the end of the crank there. So this is the tachometer I'm going to use, and these are the little rubber grommets that you can use that, or this. I'm going to use this grommet because that'll go in the into the crank there pretty nicely. So you just kind of push it on the end of the tachometer there, and that is ready to, and this will show RPMs either way, either direction. The black scale is one and the white scale is the other direction. Okay, I'm going to see if it'll start, and I'm going to adjust the carburetor first. See gas down in here. It might be flooded. It's all done going on Craigslist. I put a new blade on it because I had one. Actually a pretty dandy little ledger. Starts in 1 or 2 poles. Works pretty darn good. Hit the like button if you enjoyed my video. If you enjoy my channel, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.